When I was asked if I would be interested in interviewing a 100-year-old veteran who participated on D-Day, I was very excited. What an honor, I thought, to get to sit down with a member of the greatest generation who took part in such a significant event in our nation's history. At the time of the interview, Don Aycock, an Army veteran, was about a week away from his 100th birthday. It had been 77 years since he took part in D-Day at Normandy, France. From the onset of the interview, it was apparent that Don was from a different kind. He was so humble, so unassuming. It was striking. When I told him what an honor it was to get to interview him, he thanked me for the interview and said, "We were only doing our part." That sentence became a refrain across the interview. It was a measure of genuine humility that is not often seen anymore. That sense of selflessness is a defining characteristic of what we respectfully call the greatest generation. Across the interview, innocence was another strong theme. Don Aycock and his peers were shocked by the cruel acts of Germany and Japan. They had trouble imagining the cruelty. They had no way of imagining what it would mean to take part in a world war. So in 1941, when you were doing that and you heard about the bombing of Pearl Harbor,
Oh, yeah.
what were you thinking?
Shocked that there was people like that in the world that was that basic.
Mm-hmm.
It was all foreign.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't even have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little rifle when I was a kid, and then of course the Army issued me the carbine.
That's very interesting. You say it was all foreign. The
Yeah.
notion of a war was foreign.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really makes a statement about your innocence and the innocence of our country, because the notion of a world war. Now, tell me about this picture here.
Well, my
Newspaper.
wife bought this paper December the 6th, 1945. Yeah, she bought this in Oklahoma City
And you
on D-Day.
so this is the original
And
paper.
it was folded up in the trunk up until it already turned brown.
Well, that is
That is
great.
the actual paper
And that your wife bought.
that my wife bought in 1945. Yeah, I was in the survey section, so
Yeah.
every time we moved position, the survey, we surveyed 44 different units.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in fact, it's on that map. That's
Yeah.
all the units. And that's the route that we took. St. Louis
Mm-hmm.
is where we made first contact with the Germans. We, going through Belgium, we hadn't been through there very long, and we were stopped at the moment right on an intersection. And all of a sudden, we saw heads popping up by a house. And crazy guys, you don't know what you're doing sometimes. But about 4 or 5 of us circled around. We didn't hit it, we didn't catch anybody. But about that time, the firing battery opened up on that. There was about 300 Germans.
Mm-hmm.
And they all were captured.
Oh, they were captured.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So from the beginning of D-Day and the invasion on the beachhead, it took a little over 2 months for you to liberate France. So that was a number of weeks that you were there. What was life like, in your battery as you're moving across France?
Well, really, we just had a job to do. We had a job to do, and whatever the colonel ordered, we went. Servicing this many years, there was somebody calling us. They had a hot spot here and there. So we went wherever the firepower needed.
What were you and your peers telling each other?
Well, you really, you were kind of in a state of what's happening. Because we had no idea what we were going to run into. We were the first column with the armor that went in France into Belgium. When it really needed firepower, they sent us back and trained for the rockets. And when that Battle of the Bulge and all that was over, we converted back to the 18th field and went on through the 50 mile of Berlin.
And you were back to the 105 millimeter.
Yeah.
They did not view themselves as heroes or acting heroically. They were simply American citizens doing their part. The war was an interruption. They wanted to serve, do their part, and get on with their lives. When Don spoke of his wife, it was obvious that she was the love of his life. It was heartwarming and sweet. He was so proud of his wife of 76 years. It was obvious that her love was a pillar in his life.
She wrote me a letter every day. Fortunately, First National, Oklahoma City, all the time I was gone.
You were looking forward to her letters, weren't you?
Well, there's no doubt about that. The war was just interruption for us to go on with life. I was so proud and pleased that I lived with that woman 76 years and had a wonderful life. We accomplished everything that we had set to do, made it decent living, and enjoyed friends and fellowship.
And you were blessed to have so much time together.
Yep.
Now, some of us in the room here have been married over 4 decades, but you're making us feel like newlywed.
Well, I'll tell you, she was my right arm. She was responsible for recording every ticket that we ever sold. She had a ticket made and recorded by hand. All the time we was in business. We didn't have a computer. But from 1951, she started copying my records. And from that through 98, we have a garage full of, still have some, I think.
When asked about advice for young people, his advice was simple: have a strong relationship with God. When asked about the most influential person in his life, without question, it was his mom. She had given him the foundation of love and the direction that would serve as the guide for his life. No mother ever received stronger praise. Of all of your achievements in life, what are you proudest of?
Well, I've mainly mother. My mother was the root of all the good. I had 4 brothers and 2 sisters, and all came up through the public schools. But Mom taught us right from wrong, and lovingly, never was a time that I can remember that she was ever cross with me. That was family life back then. We spent Sunday afternoon after church playing softball, playing baseball and basketball.
When asked how he felt about making history, he was simply glad to do his part. A longtime member of Lawton First Assembly, Don's church, said he did not know Don served in World War II. Don did not talk about it. He had gone on with his life. I shared with Don how important his service, his example, was to my soldiers when we deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom I. He said that many soldiers across time had shared this sentiment with him. He said that he has always had trouble fully understanding this. After all, he was simply doing what he thought anyone should do. As he approaches 100 years, he is still full of life, looking forward to his daughter giving him a birthday party. Don Aycock feels very blessed. He has had a great life. He is still full of love for people and passion for life. He says he is very grateful. As Veterans Day approaches, we are very grateful for him, his life of service, and the greatest generation. It was a great honor to get to visit with him.